what exactly are outliers, right? We hear that a lot of times in sort of the lexicon and the common vernacular, but also we hear that in statistics quite a bit as well. And so what exactly is an outlier from a mathematical perspective, but also how does it affect and change our data sets? So let's take a look at a very basic example just to see how it can change our measures of dispersion or measures of central tendency. All right, let's go ahead and let's jump in. The basic definition of an outlier is just an extreme data value, okay? It can also be the result of an error in reading data. It can distort the results of statistical processes, all right? So outliers can affect the mean by making it larger or smaller, but most likely it will not affect the median or the mode as much. And that should actually make sense because if you think about kind of taking the physical middle with the median, you're kind of just sort of canceling it out in a sense, versus in the mean, you are actually adding that into your data set. All right, so it does change quite a bit. But let's go ahead and take a look at a very specific example. So just remember that outlier is just an extreme value that doesn't really seem to fit the rest of the data, the normal data, I suppose. And we'll look at a different video later on is also how that we can calculate if a value is an outlier or not. So let's say that we have the ages of 15 different cats. Okay, and they're listed all for us in chronological order, which is great. And we want to find the mean, median, and mode for this data set. So mode is often the easiest one to go with. Okay, I have 2 10s, I have 3 11s, I have 4 12s, nothing else is comparing. So my mode is going to be 12. All right, now let's go ahead and let's put this data set into our calculator just like we did in the last video and see what information we can get out of it. So here I have my table with age, with all the ages going down. So what I'm going to do is go to Menu, Statistics, Stat Calculations, one variable statistics. I have one variable. My age is going to be my X list, frequency 1, put it into the C column. Great. So what I find is that my median is 12 and my average is 13.6. So let me go ahead and write that down. My X bar is going to be 13.6 and then my median is going to be 12. All right, I guess I'll also write down my mode. It's going to be 12 as well. So now what I'm asked is, hey, are there any data points that distort the calculation of the mean? Well, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 24, 25, it should kind of stick out as a little bit of obvious in this example that these two don't really seem to fit the rest of the values. So let's go ahead and remove these values and then recalculate the mean and see what we have. All right, so let's go back into our calculator. So once I delete those two values, I'm going to have new mean and median. So my new mean is 11.9 and my new median is 12. So my median is still 12. However, my X bar, my average, is going to be 11.9. So you can see that my average was significantly affected by that, right? 13.6 to 11.9 is quite significant, but my median wasn't changed at all. In order to kind of see this, imagine that I took these two completely out of the data set. All right, well, now if I wanted to find the median or the middle, let me go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm still left with 12. Okay, so my median, my physical middle, does not change once I get rid of those two. It can absolutely change, just that for this specific data set, it didn't change. The mean is always going to be affected whether you have the inclusion or the removal of certain data points. The median, however, may not change, but it also may change. And the change is almost always going to be less significant than the change to the mean. The mean is much more reactive to the inclusion or the removal of outliers than the median, just kind of by its very nature, okay? So I hope that's a little good example of how the median and the mean change with the removal of outliers. And in our next few videos, we're going to look at how we can actually determine what is an outlier and what isn't, and what happens when we include it or not include it into our calculations. So I hope that helps, and I'll see you all in the next video.